SKUF YKK is a legendary New York City graffiti writer whose name is synonymous with graffiti's golden era. For the month of December, we teamed up with SKUF to produce a limited run of prints featuring an action sequence of his stamp-like throw-up that has been omnipresent throughout New York. Many of the prints are signed by SKUF and are on a first-come, first-served basis. The print is only available via our Patreon and will be shipped to all members, along with access to our episode library, interviews from Host 18, Cash 4, XSM, Les YKK, Sake, and Sean Crawford. Thank you, as always, to everybody who supports us. Next month, we're going to be running a second food drive in New York. Details on that on a later date. So, peace and love to everybody, and enjoy the episode. All right, yo, Sean G, man. It's a pleasure having you here.
What's up?
I've been listening to your channel for a minute.
Is you right here?
Nah, it's for you.
Oh, that's me?
Yeah.
All right, bet. I got the Fiji joint.
Yeah, bro. I've been listening to your channel for a minute. You got a really sick YouTube channel, and one thing that really stood out to me from the start is you talk about fasting all the time. You ask similar questions that kind of point in a certain direction. You talk about like elevating your mind, overcoming past obstacles. You talk about like doing time in the feds and a lot of real life shit. And you talk about empowering yourself through your own decisions and past mistakes. And you relate working out to not really like, of course, that has a physical part, but a lot of it for the mental. And these people, it's amazing because these people that you interview, they all say really dope shit. All of them, you end up like, you bring out of them a side where like they end up just dropping the facts, dropping real knowledge, you know what I mean, that you can apply at any stage of your life. What made you this way? Like, where did you grow up?
First of all, Angel, I want to say shout out to you, Z. Shout out to you and your podcast. I wish y'all all the best. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, Sean G. Subscribe to my Instagram, Sean G. Come to my entrepreneurship conference in Miami, April the 10th. Down there, I got some dope speakers. You can check all that out on my Instagram page and on my YouTube channel. I grew up in North Jersey. I was born in 1969. I grew up in the 70s and 80s. I'm 52. You know, thank you for following the channel, for watching the videos. You know, what's dope about what I do, and I didn't even know what I was doing. I had no idea this YouTube channel was gonna do what it's doing. I don't know these people I interview. I just wake up on a Saturday, Sunday, or whatever day. I drive to whatever park, and whoever in that motherfucker, I just, yo, can I get an interview? I hit the record button and we take off. I guess I got a gift in the way that I can get these people to open up somehow. Strangers, to open up with a stranger with a camera.
Yeah.
In New York.
And they're doing their own personal thing. Like they're working out, they're doing dips, they come there to maybe have some personal time. And
never knowing I'm going to show up with a camera. Never knowing that they're going to be on my channel that morning.
Yeah, exactly.
And the fact that it's so real and that it's so impromptu, I think that's what resonates with people. You know, it ain't none of the fake shit. None of my shit is scripted. Mm-hmm. I don't edit nothing other than just like the intros where I put a lot of the old school New York scenes on there or whatever. But as far as going in, what we shoot is going up.
But in terms of like the questions that you ask, why are you asking these types of questions? Like, because not everyone thinks this way. So
I don't know, Angel.
Where does this come from in your life? Like, what in your past has made you have all these thoughts and have all these like realizations? You have like the way you talk is really like, you talk about how you should be frugal, how you should, you know, you don't wear your wealth, how you talk about like semen retention, you talk about controlling yourself, you talk about a lot of this shit. Like, where does this all come from?
Well, you know, to be where I am now and to think about and talk about the things I talk about, there had been a point to where I didn't think this way, and I didn't talk about none of this, you know. So you had to have been fucked up at some point in your life in order to be right. And I guess a lot of self-reflection, you know, the questions I asked myself when I crashed and burned is what I try to get out of people, you know. I don't even know. I don't have an answer to your question other than that. I turn on the camera, and a lot of it depends on where they take me. Mm-hmm. Like if they want to go somewhere, you know, the first thing I ask, yo, where you from? How old are you? This and that, boom, boom. And then if they start rapping and going somewhere, I let them go, and then I go with them. And I let them ask their questions. You know, then I begin to ask questions about what they're saying. And then I always come back to my script that's in my dome. I don't write nothing down. But, you know, I think I'm trying to see, are you all right with yourself? Because you got to be all right with yourself. If you ain't all right with yourself, you fucked up. And, you know, I guess these questions I'm asking is just trying to see, you know, what's up on the inside. You know, fuck what you do, fuck what you got. Who are you? Talk to me about what's the essence, the true essence of who you are.
No, it's amazing. I've been working out in parks too, like in South Brooklyn for a few years now. And what I notice about people that come consistently, especially at odd times of the day, like mad early in the morning, the sun's rising, and they're always there, but they always keep to themselves. I notice that these people have the craziest stories, man. I'll like step out of my comfort zone and I'll ask them like, you know, what's your name? Like, who are you? Like, what are you about? Like, yo, and we'll like forget the workout. We'll end up talking for like 2 hours. And yo, they'll tell me like the craziest like childhood traumas, like who they were before, like their parents, like how they came to America. Yo, it's amazing, dude. And what you do with these people, like really hear these people out and like put this online too. Not only, it's not just like two people talking to each other and then like it evaporates. You can change people's lives with these conversations because they're like, yo, I thought I was the only one that thought this way, or like I was the only one that went through these experiences. Like I'm alone in this world, but yo, there's a whole group of people and it's more common than you think, man. So thank you again for expressing this in the world, bro. Honestly, it's more than just working out. It's more than just getting fit and ripped and shit. It's about being human at the end of the day, honestly.
And being mentally tight and spiritually tight. And nobody's the Lone Ranger unless you sit in your house by yourself and you think you the Lone Ranger. It's everybody's got a story to tell. You know, everybody done crashed and burned, and if you ain't crashed and burned, then just keep living, and you gonna get your turn. Mm-hmm. You know, and it's what you do after you crash and burn what's important. You know, do you fold a tent, or do you, you know, examine yourself and make a comeback?
Yeah, and I mean, you talk a lot, like you said, about being mentally. It's about being mentally tight. It's about everybody in this life gets to a point, whatever is relative to them, but they do crash and burn. Everybody has their own version of their lowest low. And I'm just curious what your lowest version of your lowest low was. Like, what was it that you started off this podcast talking about, how for you to think all these things, there was a point where there hasn't been a point, the beginning, where you didn't think all these things, where you had to sit down and ask the questions that you're asking other people to yourself, to self-reflect. What was the point in your life that, like the events that led to that switch?
Angel, man, I was in 2011, April the 14th. Feds came to my tax office, and that was, unbeknownst to me at the time, what I thought was a curse, because at that time I'm 42, 2011, I'm 42, I'm a millionaire, I'm flying to Africa on a decision, just going to the airport, giving me the flight, no plan, how much is it to take it? Take it. I'm sitting on 931 cash. I got 6, 7 women, and I'm chilling. I got 9 rental properties, $400,000 a year income. I got a baby on the way, son. I'm winning. I feel undefeated. And they came, and for the next 3.5 years, I crashed and burned. And I lost all the material possessions that I had, something that I had placed a whole lot of weight and value on. And I ended up in Federal Correctional Institution, FCI Morgantown in West Virginia, flat broke, with $1,900 on my books. Everything was gone. And this may answer the first question you asked, because at that point, all I had was me. And I had to look and say, well, damn, nigga, how the fuck did you get here? At 45 years old, you ended up in the feds. You done lost $1.2 million. Something is wrong with you, Sean. Something is really wrong with you. And at that point, I couldn't front on myself because of the circumstance I was in. And that was when I finally had that war with myself. And I talk about that in my first book. I had a knockdown, drag out fight to the death with myself, where either the old Sean was gonna win and I was gonna continue down this path of destruction, or the new nigga was gonna win and I was gonna change my life and make my comeback and start all over again fresh. I was in a depression for about 3.5 years.
While you were in prison, or even when you got
Before,
out?
From the day they came. There's nothing like a federal investigation. Ain't nothing in this world like it. And I went 3.5 years on probably no more than about 4 hours of sleep a night. I lost all my money. I had my son was born. He was looking at me. And he was the only motherfucker on the planet telling me he loved me. I wasn't even telling me that. Everybody that I thought loved me ratted on me, betrayed me, stabbed me in the back, or left. And that, in prison, I had this war with me, and I killed the old nigga, man. I assassinated him. And I rebuilt who you see now. And, it took what I initially thought was a curse has actually turned out to be a blessing, because, I got into this YouTube thing to get rich, and I'm not doing that, but I'm getting rich with the lives that I'm helping around the world, man. The people, the DMs I get, the emails I get, the phone calls, people just call and tell me, and I'm not trying to do this shit. I'm just really just being Sean. And that is the biggest benefit I done got out of this whole thing, man. But that's where that shit started from. I was fucked up. I didn't even know if I can come back, man. So
tell us about like we've talked to on our show. We talked to a number of people who have went to prison, and I like to hear about how they spent their time in there, because there's this quote by the Stoics. I'm gonna butcher it, but basically the idea is like, this man went to prison. Whether that thing was negative or positive is a judgment placed on by the others or by the human mind. But whether it's actually positive or negative depends on the person and how they deal with it and how they take it. And I've never been to prison, but I can imagine it's like, you've seen the videos, you've seen the documentaries. It's not a good place. Your freedoms, your basic rights are taken away from you. You're talking about 4 hours of sleep. You hear about like fights all the time. It's like a place where you really have to. You only can depend on yourself, and you have to really like hold your own ground. And like, How was your day to day like in prison, and what was your thoughts when those doors slammed and you're like, yo, I'm really in here alone, man? Were you afraid? Were you?
Of course. When I flew out there, because I flew to West Virginia. I flew out to West Virginia. I had never been to West Virginia before. Now I'm going out to Virginia to go to West Virginia to go to prison, to a federal prison. You know, by myself. I caught a one-way flight. I self-surrendered. You know, in the federal system, you got different classifications of prisons. You got the very violent USPs, the penitentiaries, very, very violent. You know, then you come down, you got the mediums, then you got the lows, and then you got the camps. To where I went was a low. Still prison. But I remember when I got there, I was there maybe 2 weeks, and we was all standing around in the back talking, and one of the other dudes was talking. He had a 30-year sentence. He had did like 20 already. And he had started in them high USPs and shit. He was says, man, I've been stabbed and I done stabbed the motherfucker, right? So we was talking, I'm listening. And he said, this place could either be your tomb or it can be your womb. You know, and then when he said that, it let me know that I had the power to make my time what I was gonna make it, you know. And I wasn't there for no games, man. I left my son out here. That was the most painful thing I had ever done in my life, to leave him. And, you know, I knew I had an out date. I knew I was gonna get out, and I knew that I had to start over from scratch, and I knew that I could not come out the same motherfucker that I was that went in. So I immediately got to work with looking in the mirror. And like I say, I was asking, I told myself, I said, nigga, something is wrong with you. Something wrong with you, because look at where you at. You can't front no more. So that being said, I immediately got to work, working on me, so that when I left out of there, I could make my comeback, you know. And I was a broken man when I got there. I was a broken man because at that point, you know, I was a motherfucker that placed a lot of value on money, and I had lost all of mine. And like you say, when you get to prison, you know, whatever you had on the street, it really don't matter. Everybody's in there. You got $300 you could spend on commissary. You got 300 minutes you could talk on the phone every month. You got 3 pair of khaki pants. Everybody's got 3 shirts. And that's it. So who you are means a lot more in that spot than what you got. And that hit home for me, you know. Who the fuck, you know, and like you say, you being there by yourself. Ain't nobody, you in there by yourself. You in there by yourself.
What were some of the methods that you used? You talk about how you got to work. You immediately started looking in the mirror. What was some of the methods that you used to build yourself back up?
I started writing. I bought a notebook off the commissary, some pens, and I started writing about those traumatic experiences, those traumatic childhood experiences, the shit that I didn't like growing up, those life-altering experiences that you go through as a child that you don't have no control over, you're powerless over because you're just a child, but that shit still happened. The shit still impacted you, and it's affecting you because look at how you acting out over here. Look at how you acting out. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of motherfuckers run from that shit their whole life, and I had, and I knew that there was no better time for me to confront myself than when I was in the joint, because I wasn't getting no pussy. There wasn't no cell phones. I wasn't too big a fan of the TV. You know, I read a lot of books. I kept a book, and I just wrote, and I just reflected on, like, Sean, why did you choose these people? These people who did you dirty, you chose them. So don't blame them. It's something wrong with you that you would choose a motherfucker like that. So what's wrong with you that you choosing these kind of people? Real thorough and searching self-analysis, man. And, you know, you meet some solid dudes in there. And then you talk to other inmates, you hear their stories, and then you realize, like what we just spoke about, you're not alone. You know what I'm saying? You know, your story is just like everybody else's story, you know? And shit, man. And then, you know, that's where I got my confidence back, man. Because I didn't have none going in. I was fucked up.
Well, one thing that is very powerful, bro, is you kind of putting the blame on yourself, because it's so easy to put it on other people in everyday life, even small shit. Oh, I was this because of him. Oh, it's because he said this that made me do this. If there's an argument between two people or a fight between two people, it's because he did this. Everyone always thinks it's because he did this. It's because she did that. But in reality, if you really sit down and you meditate on that shit and you break it down, it's because you did some shit. Because it's like, it's you, there is a huge part of it that's on you, and you could have acted different, and you could have done this. I'm not saying you, but like the person who's undergoing that problem. And I think that that's something that's mad powerful, because you're in prison, bro. Like, these people, whatever happened, like, they backstabbed you, you chose them, but it's so easy to be like rat, blah, blah, blah. But to really be like, why did I choose them, and blame it on yourself, at first it's a hard thing to do, because you accept the blame and you realize that you brought this hell upon yourself. But then that can turn into, not like I brought it here, so I'm the one, me, through my own power of my mind and my soul and my hard work and discipline, I can take that shit away. And I think that's something that people can use, even if you never went to prison. If you just like comment shit, like if you just, if you're overweight, you could be like, well, yeah, it's because the media shows us this potato chips and these donuts are $1 and healthy. Just shut the fuck up and be like, yeah, but
I walk into the store.
I chose. No one put a gun to my head and said, buy this, eat it now. It's, yeah, it is a part of their fault, but it's also, there's power within your own actions. I don't want to hear like all these excuses. You can make excuses. There's like, I heard someone say, like, to someone who doesn't want to do something, they'll find every excuse in the world. And to someone who does want to do something, no excuse will be able to stop them. Even if it's not even, if it's a legitimate reason, there could be 1,000 and that won't stop them. But if they don't want to do it, there could be only one excuse and that'll be enough to stop them. So that's something that's really powerful.
That's the only way I can heal. That's the only way I can heal. None of the women I was fucking with put money on my books. And I said, well, Sean, you chose them. Look at who you chose. And they showed you signs that they weren't no good a long time ago, but you ignored it. You gave them the benefit of the doubt, because you might have been thinking with your jointski joint instead of with your dome. That's your fault, Sean. And I, to this day, excuse me, Z, you know, I control who comes into my arena and who don't come into my. This is my fault. It's my fault. That's the only way I can heal. What part did you play, Sean? What could you have done better?
Because you can't control other people's actions, so you have to just learn how to control yourself. And it's said that it's easier to control. It's easier to control 1,000 men that control your own true mind and control yourself. There's like a quote, it's like, or you've achieved more. It's by like, I forget who said it, like it's some like traditional Eastern, like Lao Tzu or somebody. Like, yeah, it's easy. The man who can conquer 1,000 men hasn't achieved as much as the person who can conquer himself. Because if you can conquer yourself, like I think of it like if you conquer 1,000 men, that's in that like one scenario. You happen to be the general. But when this war is over, then you don't conquer anyone. But if you conquer yourself, you could be in jail. You could be fucking alone on a mountain. You could be in the city, like
Anywhere.
anywhere.
You gotta have a relationship with yourself, man. You gotta say nice things to yourself. I just did a video on that. You gotta have a love affair with yourself, man. And we wasn't taught that. We was taught to like, oh, that's being arrogant, that's being conceited, that's being don't talk to yourself. Man, bad information. I'm with me more than I'm with anybody in the course of a day. So I gotta say nice things to myself because it's so easy. For a lot of years, I said a lot of bad things to myself based upon impressions and things that happened to me and was told to me coming up through the ranks. You gotta reverse that.
I can't imagine at 40 something years old when you went to prison. It's like you think when people my age think of a 40 something year old, you think of someone who's like set in their career. And nothing can shamble them down to the baseline of like just starting all over again. And that's what happened to you. And not only that, but you have a son and you lose and you place so much emphasis on material and money. And then you essentially lose everything that's important to you, probably like that. And then you end up alone. Yeah. You end up alone. And probably when you were outside of prison, your way of dealing with it was like, buy more shit, spend more time with the females, and it's all gone. So not only do you have a big problem, but all your ways of coping are just cut out. You have to start.
The way I see this situation, honestly, is like I try to approach things currently in my life for the past few months, like in more of like a spiritual understanding, like Eastern philosophy, kind of trying to look at it at a different angle. And like what you're talking about is like, it almost seems as if the universe put this in your path, this time in prison, because you reach like the highest high of materialism. So like you reach the highest high. And I feel like the universe, for people that are on the path of righteousness or have the potential to be on the true path, they give them that test. They set them back and they're like, you got to focus on what really matters. And to me, what this story sounds like is like it was meant to be, so you could be like, hold on, this is what really matters. This is what I really have to focus on. It's amazing. I don't know. I just was wondering what you thought about that.
Man, 1000%, man. You know, suppose none of this happens, right? And I continue to get money and I have this son. The way I was getting down, I probably would have been the kind of father that would have gave little Sean everything material he wanted. He would have never wanted for no diapers and no food. But I still would have been trying to hit this honey, that honey, and not spending no time with him. So I think the Sun, Moon, and Stars was like, nigga, we finna take all of this shit from you. And you gonna focus on my man. You gonna focus on my man. And you gonna give him you. And, you know, what you said, man, is I've often looked at it like that and came to that conclusion, man.
Well, something that you talk a lot about, and you ask a lot of people this question, which I always love when you start asking it, because I'm like, let's see what they say. Let's see what they say. Because it's so, you say, is it written in stone? Is your destiny written in stone? Or can you by your actions, can you affect what goes down? Now, I guess that's my question to you. Is your life written in stone? Is there free will? Or do you have an ability to change the course of your life by your own actions? Or
Without a doubt. Without a doubt. I'm the Hollywood studio. I'm the Hollywood lot. I'm the executive producer. I'm the director. I'm the cameraman. I'm the grip. I'm the guy that goes and gets the lunch for all of the actors. And I'm the starring actor. I'm an agnostic, right? You familiar with what an agnostic is?
No.
An agnostic is someone that believes in a supreme being, in a higher power. They believe in God, but they believe that the understanding and the workings of God is beyond human comprehension. That no preacher, no pastor, no imam, no rabbi, no bishop, nobody can explain what God, because you don't know. You don't know. Just like the dude at the bodega. Don't nobody. We all guessing, right? But there is, like Z just shared before, you know, in the Kabbalion it says there's no such thing as chance, right? Chance is just law unrecognized. I don't even know the answer to that question, Angel, but I do know that I got the pen on a lot of days to write whatever paragraph I want to go down in my life. Now, if my spiritual cup is right, if I'm spiritually centered, then the sun, moon, and stars is going to step to me and conspire with me to bring about the vision in my dome. If I'm on some bullshit and real negative and ain't about nothing, I'm not getting no help from nowhere. And I write my destiny that way too. And, you know, I'll get what I deserve on that way too. But I believe, Sean G, I control what happened to me. I make my life what I want it to be. You know, I could run and go run my car off the George Washington Bridge on the way home. Fuck it, let me run. You know, that's my choice. You know, and then somebody will say, "Oh, everything happens for a reason." No, it ain't. Stop that. Don't do that. Don't do that. You making an excuse, and you're not looking at what really part you played and what really went down. Yeah.
So you really use. So for you, do you think prison was it's like a good thing that it happened to you?
Without a doubt, for me. That shit. If I don't go to prison, because I was trying everything I could to stay out. I had paid this lawyer $65 grand, $62,479.49. I had my son. I was trying to get home confinement. I was trying to get probation, but my base offense level, it was white collar crime. The amount of money that they charged me with, it was mandatory incarceration. So I was trying everything possible. So they wanted me to cooperate. They wanted me to wear wires and cameras and shit and do all of that, but I wasn't. That ain't my style.
So you were a legitimate millionaire.
Without a doubt. I had a tax business. I had a property management business. I was a licensed real estate broker. All of my businesses had EINs. I had a secretary. I rented office space in an office building. I had a PTIN with the IRS. I was legit. I just was helping motherfuckers that I was doing something that I shouldn't have done because I got greedy. And I was trying to help people pay back less or get a bigger refund. And in exchange for helping them do that, I would take a bigger fee, you know, which was wrong. So I fucked myself. And I put myself in a position to be ratted on. So whoever ratted, if I had been doing everything straight up and down like 6 o'clock, you could have told all you wanted. It wouldn't have mattered. But if I would have stayed out on the street, I was so depressed. I was in such a depression. I don't believe I would have ever came out. I was overweight. I was borderline diabetic. I was like 195 pounds. I was fucked up. And getting shipped out of New Jersey all the way to West Virginia, 7 hours away. I got one visit. That was man, that was the medicine. That was the penicillin. Because when I got there, it was like, I ain't got to fight no more. All the houses are gone. All the money's gone. Everything is gone. I'm here. Let's get it done.
So you go, before you went in, you had a lot of money and a lot of businesses. They all had EINs, et cetera, et cetera. You go in, you lose it all. You get out. When you get out, what level were you at, like financially?
I had $1,900.
You had a home already, or like what happened?
Shit, I lost my house. I lost my principal residence and 9 rental properties for him. When I got out, I was living in a friend's basement, me and Lil Sean, with $1,900. It snowed the first day I got out, like a foot and a half. My truck wouldn't start. I had to put $500 in that, which brought me down to $1,400. I went and applied for a job at Wendy's. They turned me down. I went and applied for a job at Gold's Gym, racking the weights for $9 an hour. They turned me down
Because of the
felony. And I started playing poker for a living.
bro, isn't that crazy? Because then you get out, and if you don't have any way of making money, and you need money, you're gonna do some illegal shit to put you right back in there.
If you haven't worked on yourself.
Like, what do you? Yeah, they make it. It's like maybe not they make it, but it's like the scenario is so hard.
If you haven't done the work on yourself, you will come out and you'll have culture shock. You'll have culture shock because you're coming from a situation where you're institutionalized, where all of your meals are provided, your laundry, your sheets, your beds, your electricity. You don't have no responsibilities, and then you come out and you got all of these responsibilities, and nobody don't want to give you a job. There's a lot of pressure.
And you get out at how old were you when you got out?
46.
Like, imagine being 46 and you go to apply at Wendy's and they tell you no, and then you're like,
With a
well,
bachelor's
I'll try
degree-
it. I'll try again.
With a bachelor's degree and a master's degree. I knew a friend of mine that had a private equity firm on Wall Street. I sent him all my stuff. He shot me in the head. So when he didn't give me a job, I said, well, I'm not going to go to no banks, because if you got a felony, you can't work for a financial institution anyway. And being that my shit was white collar and fraud, that really precluded me from working for like any type of, corporate situation,
I can only imagine how that felt, like coming out and you can't get a job, you have no money, you can't even start your car. Because like we were talking about earlier, before you had any car you wanted, any job you wanted, like all the money, like a bed, everything, So, but like the work you put in prison, like you said, if you come out mentally strong, you just deal with that, Like, is that how you started? Because you said you came in, you were out of shape, you diabetic. Is that how you started working out?
Yeah, when did you start?
And as soon as you get in there, you're going to work out from day one.
So before you went into prison, was working out not a big part of your life?
I was working out, but I was working out wrong and eating wrong. I didn't know how to work out. But when you get to the joint, you get to prison, you're going to work out, because everybody work out. Everybody works out 3 times a day. So you're going to get right, and then you're going to watch, and you're going to learn, and dudes are going to teach you how to work out, and you just going to, and then once you get the physical right, the mental, it's like my questions I ask on the videos, the spiritual, mental, and physical. All 3 got to be hitting together. If all 3 is hitting together, it ain't nothing you can't do. It ain't nothing you can't accomplish. So that's when I got right, and I came out. I was playing poker for a living. That was taking too many hours of me from Lil Sean. It was too unpredictable. I'm losing one day, I'm winning one day. And then I started the window cleaning business, which is on my YouTube channel, The Window Cleaner with Soul. And I started filming myself cleaning windows, and that took off. My first window was a $3 window. 46 years old, after having been a millionaire, walking around with a bucket and a squeegee. And I cleaned my first window was $3. Yeah. And by the time I finished, I sold my window cleaner out a year ago. I had 7 Taco Bells, 5 Domino's pizzas, a Burger King, bunch of diners, bunch of doctor's offices. I was able to take care of me and Lil Sean. I never got no welfare. I don't think I could get, I think when you get a federal felony, you can't get welfare, food stamps, none of that shit, Section 8.
What?
That's
Dude.
insane.
Yeah, so I never went and asked anyway, because I don't want nothing from the United States government. I don't want nothing from no man, because I'm a man. I take care of me. I'll take care of me. I don't want nothing from no man. If you could do it, I could do it.
I mean, you talk about how There's this one video you got on YouTube, and it's like being frugal. And if you're intelligent, you don't wear your wealth, and you should, you know, like, take me through the process of caring so much about the material possessions and all this money to saying shit like that, like that you shouldn't wear your wealth, and that you should like, and that you're talking about like being rich in a different way. You're already rich beyond your wildest dreams. Without like millions of dollars in your bank account. What is the process of how that came about?
I grew up caddying on a golf course in Jersey, and I caddied for a lot of wealthy dudes, and I saw what they wore, I saw what they drove, and during the 80s, and even to this day, a lot of respect is measured in terms of money. Right?
Yeah.
The person could be a trash can. Yeah. But if they got money, they get this respect before they even demonstrate and show you their resume whether they deserve respect or not. This is the world we live in. And so that's, you know, I based my life on that, and that's what I aimed and shot for, and I got it. I hit the target. I had, you know, tailor-made suits, $3,600 Hickey Freeman suits, fly to Brazil, fly to Africa, fly back, 2 months later fly back to Africa, you know, whatever. Money, cars. And when you lose that and you strip down to nothing but you strip bare, and then you're thrust in a prison environment where what you say is a check that you gotta cash. The way you move, the way you walk, the way you look, your bite, all of this shit is checks that you got to cash. And you discover that other shit didn't mean nothing, man. It didn't mean nothing. Like, I'm sitting here now, I ain't got my 1.2 back, right? But I'm 11 times the nigga that I was when I had it. I was nowhere near the man that I am. And that's the case with a lot of people with money. That's the case with a lot of people with money. They're a shell. They all that money is, not everybody is a mask. Is a mask.
I was just, it's funny you brought that up. It's like it was meant to be, because this morning I was just talking to, so I train jiu-jitsu in the Bronx, right? And I take the train. It's like a 2-hour train ride. And one of the dudes that comes sometimes on the weekends to train, he also lives in Brooklyn. Long story short, we were on the train. We met on the train randomly. Like, we didn't even plan on this. And we ended up talking about what you talk about, how wealth is a shell, because he got offered, so like during COVID, he got offered to train a rich man's son, because the kid essentially hasn't been outside in months. You know what I mean? He's like, he's going crazy. Can you come and train this kid martial arts, you know? And the thing is like, he told me that it's one of the richest neighborhoods in America, in Connecticut. This dude lived in a house. Like, you have to call people on the phone to ask them a question. You can't even, like, they're nowhere near you. The house is so big. And he told me that one common thing in that neighborhood, in that rich neighborhood, is that those kids are drug addicts. And the thing is because they have no parental guidance, because the parents, they're working 24/7 in other countries, in other states. They're nowhere to be home. They have maids, and the maids raise the kids. So the kid is like lost. He needs that comfort from his blood, you know what I mean? Like a parental guidance, and it's not there. That's like a common theme. And I didn't think this was true until he told me this, because you see movies and shows, and this is kind of like what they show in it. Like, you know, like the maids taking care of the kids. Like, you ever seen Happy Gilmore? Like, you know, like, or different movies where like the maid takes care of the kid, and like he's disconnected from the parents and shit. And it was Billy Madison. I don't know, whatever. But fucking. It's crazy. Yeah, it's amazing that you have such a close connection with your child, man. It's truly amazing. You talk about how his spiritual, mental, and emotional growth is thanks to you and these father figures, man. It's rare, you know.
He's way ahead of me, man, and everything that you saying is on point, Z. You know, I got to give Sean my soul. I would never want to be. You can keep your Major League Baseball contract worth $200-300 million, and you got 3 kids at home, 2 daughters and a son, and you playing 161 baseball games in a year. That's 365. That's almost 48% of the year you're playing baseball. Then spring training, you ain't never home. You ain't never home. They don't know you. They don't know you. They don't know you. They got everything. They ain't got to never worry about no bill. They don't got to never learn through struggle. But they don't know you, and they grow up to resent you later on in life. And the familial structure, the familial relationship, it ain't no good.
But the thing is with that, I'm realizing as we're talking about this, it's not only just wealthy, rich families either, bro. Society, the structure right now is, yo, the rent is so high. Parents, they have to work all day, and when they get home, they're tired. They, you know, like the only conversation they have with the kid, you want macaroni or you want this or that. Like it's like shallow conversations. It's not spiritual, lifting, like you have to stay on the path, disciplined conversations. And while the parents are at work, these kids are essentially being raised by social media. They're being raised by other teachers. They're being raised by not their parents. You know what I mean? It's like a disconnect. It's very toxic, man.
Listen, man, we can go deeper than that.
Yeah.
The parent could be home with the kid and give him a phone.
Yeah.
Or give him the game. And the parent will go get on their phone for hours, won't have no type of conversation with their kid. I let Sean fuck with the game. He got a phone. But sometimes I say, man, turn it off and go outside. Go ride to the skate park on your bike. They down there. I look out the window. Go down there and interact with kids. Ain't nobody outside. Well, you'll be out there. You'll be out there by yourself. Play by yourself. Or come in the room and talk to me. Here, read this book to me. I'm very cognizant of that. Very cognizant of that. And with the technology, with the world, now the kids ain't even in school. This shit is broke down, man.
Yeah, and the more you see media, the more you get confused. You don't even know you're confused, but you're getting confused because these things that are put into your head by whatever you see, whatever you choose to follow. They post a bunch of stuff, or whatever you see on TV. All of it confuses you more and more, where you end up thinking that the most important thing is to have this shoe or this brand of jeans or this brand of that. And to have that, you need a bunch of money, because it's not just that you're buying, but you're gonna need rent, and you're gonna need this, and you're gonna need that. All your basics, which cost a lot, plus all that expensive shit. And you end up becoming really lost and a slave to essentially buying shit. And you don't notice it because everybody else does the same shit. You're weak.
And you weak. You cold-blooded weak. We talked about that when you walked in. You said, Sean, man, you said, Sean, your channel is a masculine channel. You do talk about real man shit. That you become weak, man. You be a dude and you be just as weak. And I mean weak in the sense of in the dome piece, in the spirit. You don't fight nothing. You just become weak.
What do you mean by weak when you say, like, okay, so if I see you said that if you are buying into all this brand shit, and I don't mean like, and I don't think you mean either that you can't wear brand name shit, but I'm saying like you always chase the newest shit, like this is controlling your mind. You talk about how you're weak and you have a low self-esteem. Your spirit is weak, your mind is weak. Can you dive into that a little bit more? Why is that?
Man, when how you feel about yourself is based on the emblem on your car, you weak, homeboy. I don't need no car to rap for me. I'm stepping to any honey that I want to see. I don't give a fuck who she is, what race, nationality, creed. If she appeals to me, I'm stepping to her, and I'm gonna make her see that it's me that she's attracted to. Whether I'm on a goddamn skateboard or I'm in an Audi. A lot of dudes, they go get $180 pair of sneakers, $200 pair of jeans. They borrow their mother's BMW, or they go buy one and they pull up and they let that rap for them. You weak, homeboy. You weak. And if she fuck with you because of that, both of y'all weak. Both of y'all weak. But if I step to a honey and say, look, man, check this out. I'm gonna meet up with you later. We're gonna go to the park, man. We're gonna buy a salad. I'm gonna buy you salad, buy me a salad. We get us some more. I just wanna rap to you. And you can sit in the park and rap to her for an hour and 15 minutes. That's when you getting intimate before you get physically intimate. That's when you get her dome. And you give her your dome. You be real. But if you got to live in Greenwich, Connecticut, you know, you got to have this and that to rap for you. You weak, homeboy.
So it's about like mental connection, not just physical and appearance.
It's who you are.
It's a lot nowadays is just based on, not even nowadays, but I guess for a long time, forever. It's like a lot of it's based on appearance, about what they look like, what he looks like, what she looks like, immediately without even thinking past that. But I think that's a big part of being a human, is being able to think with your mind and not just the instinct of the animal to do this and the third. You think about a little bit more than that, and that goes not even just in terms of like dealing with the opposite sex, but in terms of like you seeing who you are as a person. And that helps you deal with problems more and more. And like you were saying how prison, that dude told you that it could be the womb or it could be the tomb. And I think that not only just prison, but anything that's a serious problem for a human in general, it could be a womb or it could be the tomb. Like
drug addiction.
You're just depression, things like that. Like
low self-esteem.
I think that you need those things, because without them, like, I have this thought of like a boxer, like you need someone to throw some punch at you and hit you as hard as they can for you to wake up. Like there's a saying that's like, a right hand might knock you out. A right hand will knock you out, but it'll wake you up to the ultimate reality. So it's like these problems, they'll knock you on your ass, but when you get back up, then you can learn how to deal with them, and you learn more about yourself, you learn more about your life, and you learn more about essentially everything. You become a new version of yourself, and you could assassinate the old version of yourself. And that's what I try to do, like in my day-to-day life, is assassinate the shit out of like this myself of yesterday. At every moment I'm trying to, like, because you could always be better. And you talk about how the night before, when you go to sleep, you should be writing down what you're going to do the next day to be productive at all times, and how an unbusy mind is
It's a devil's play shop.
Yeah.
Unbusy mind is devil. Man, when I wake up in the morning, I know I go look at my, all right, let's get to work. Let me get my coffee and let me get to work. I don't leave nothing to chance. Nah, I'm writing that shit down. I'm prepping my mind. I'm priming my mind so when I go to sleep, because the last thought of the night is the first thought of the next morning. So if you go to sleep depressed, the first thing you're going to wake up is going to be depressed. If you go to sleep knowing I got to get this day done tomorrow, then you wake up in the morning, you ready. I'm ready, man. I'm not playing no games, man, with this world, man. I'm not playing no games, man. This is legacy.
And so it's some serious shit, because you could fuck up and end up really down like how you ended up. And like I want to let you know that, like, I went through a part of my life where I was super, super depressed, and like.
How old are you?
I'm 25.
And baby.
Yeah,
How old are you,
exactly.
24.
Yeah, y'all motherfuckers babies, man.
But there was a point. Yeah, like, of course, no, I agree. But like, what baby is to you, to me, is my whole life. You know what I mean?
I could dig it.
So there's a point in my life where I'm super depressed, and I realized at a moment that when I would find YouTube channels, not YouTube channels, I'm using that as a general expression, but like people who would speak like the people on your videos, or I would find books that would talk about certain shit. I would find books and articles that would talk about like elevating yourself and like undergoing struggle, and I read and shit, like hearing shit from like Teddy Atlas or like any old fighters and the inspirational shit that they'll do. And when I found your YouTube channel, I can't remember the first one I saw, but all I remember was like, oh, nah. And I went and I clicked on your page and I see like a bunch of them pop up. I'm like, fuck, there's so many, bro. So I start watching them. I ended up watching. It's like medicine for my soul, honestly. To see these videos, I would end up watching them so many, and it truly improved my life. It improved my life, and it made me like, it hyped me up to like, you hear like there's this one dude who you talk to and you're like, yo, what you think about fasting, man? And he's like, you were like, when do you break your fast or some shit like that? And he was like, when I'm fasting, I'm not eating. Like, he's talking about like you hear like the discipline in his voice, and he's like, nothing can stop me when I'm on my path. Like I hear people say like, you know, like the food out there is poison. I'm fucking here every morning because I'm working on myself, and I'm hearing this, and it's like medicine to my soul. And it reminds me of like, you hear the people who say this shit like they've been through some pain, and like even if their pain was, I'm sure of it, much worse than anything I've been through. When I hear them say this, it makes me like it gives me mind calm, because I think like, yo, like it gives me this overwhelming sense of peace of like, bro, everything's gonna be good, because I can always, no matter how rock bottom I hit, if I'm sure in myself as a man in this society, and I'm sure in like the power of my own mind, I could be what happened to you, end up in prison and come out and even be better, and use that hole to like dig myself up, like just using each failure to come back 20 times stronger. Like, give the analogy of like a fighter, like you hit someone with the right hand, like now I downloaded your information of how you throw that hand. You're going to have a hard time hitting me with that same shit. You're going to have to come up with some new shit. So with each problem, and I'm literally learning things as I watch your YouTube channel, like this lifetime of experience that this dude has gone through, I'm taking like a download of it in 10, 15 minutes. I'm downloading.
You fuck with it too, see?
Bro, what? Yo, I was on the train this morning, and you have a video called Networking, and you talking about how, bro, like my whole life, pretty much, like I've always been shut in, like kept to myself ever since my dad passed away. I've always been like
introverted,
just mad introverted, bro. And like, you know what it is with that shit? It's like the more you do it, the more you get used to it, the more comfortable you are in that zone. And like you could miss amazing opportunities with that shit. And you're like, yeah, I missed an amazing opportunity, but like I doubt it was even that good. You know, like I'm good here. And bro, this morning I was listening to your video about networking. You were like, yo, you can't network with people if you're just home. You can't network with people if you're just shut in your head. Like, go out and fucking network. Like, bro, and I felt good, man. I was just like, bro, why am I just like this? Like, for example, like on Instagram, like if you go on my page, I'm like this cold, silent, like I just do these workouts, you know? But like, fuck all that. Like, I want to start talking to people. Yeah. I want to start expressing my views. I want to just
gotta tell people what you do.
Yo.
Y'all got to tell people about this podcast. And let me put this in context for you. I say you guys are babies is not to diss you.
No, of course.
It's to really just convey to you the opportunity that you guys have. You got this here already set up. The best days are in front of you. Your best days are in front of you. The best is yet to come. At 25 and 24 years old, you follow baseball?
No, not at all.
Yeah,
okay.
really.
Well, in baseball terms, you guys got the bases loaded in the first inning with nobody out. And you got Barry Bonds, Hank Aaron, and Willie Mays on deck coming up to hit. So you're going to definitely score some runs. That's what I meant when I said your babies.
Yeah.
But listen, man. In sales, I sold real estate. I sold window cleaning service. You know, the one who's asking the most questions is in charge of the conversation, even when it comes down to the honeys. With anything. When you go when you see the police, they bring in a suspect. What's the first thing they do? They ask questions because they're in control of the conversation, and you gotta, tell people what you do. You got to. When I have my tax business, I don't care who it was, wherever I was at, Rite Aid, Whole Foods, the Bodega, Burger King. Who does your taxes? When you get, here's my card. I do taxes. Give me your stuff. I'll look at your numbers for free. I would just tell. And just because they don't fuck with you on Tuesday when you meet them, don't mean 7 months later on a Thursday they may call you and be like, "Hey, you met me. I met you on the 2 train." Okay, yeah, all right, I remember. I want to purchase your services now. But you gotta tell people what you do, man. And I see a lot of people doing the entrepreneur thing and trying to, and they just think, let me do a YouTube video, put it up, and that's it. Nah, you gotta engage. I engage with my subscribers. I'm in the comment section.
Well, you're a real deal, like, entrepreneur, man. Like,
yeah,
I didn't know this about you, about like the whole tax shit, and then all these EINs, and it's not easy to do all these things, and it takes a lot of work to run your own thing, and then you go to prison, you get out, window fucking cleaning business, like you land on your feet, you know what I mean? Like, it might take a little, you might get denied here, you might get denied there.
I'm coming back, man.
Exactly.
I'm coming back. And my haters is what's gonna fuel me. The motherfuckers that doubted me, that said Sean G is done. Oh, for real? All right, motherfucker. No, you're done because you're judging me based on your own limited scope and self-perception of yourself and the way you see the world. But I see the world different than you. You gotta fucking believe in yourself, man. That's big on my channel too. I talk a lot about speaking things into existence, believing in yourself,
willing it into existence.
Man, you gotta will that shit into existence, man. Speak it into existence.
It's so easy to just coast through life.
See yourself. You gotta see yourself doing it.
And I think that a lot of the thing too is like, sometimes if you're hanging around with bums,
you're gonna be a bum.
You can compare yourself to these bums, and you could be like, well, I'm better than insert your friend who does nothing. I'm better than, yeah, but why are you comparing yourself to the lowest rung of the ladder?
Right. Get you some more competitive friends.
Yeah, exactly.
Then compare yourself. They gonna make you step your game up.
And you should always just be trying to improve yourself on the self of yesterday. You talk a lot about you shouldn't like think too much, and I'm not saying not learn from it, but contemplating and reminiscing and living in the past, how that shit is just poison and there's no point and it's gone, and you could think about it 24/7 all day long. Past relationships, past mistakes. Why didn't I do this? What if I did this? I should have done this. I should have told her this. We could have done this.
Stuck like Chuck.
And it's useless. And there's this quote, I don't know if you know this dude, he's like a old ancient samurai. He's like a legendary samurai from the past, named Miyamoto Musashi. Before he died,
5 rings.
Yeah, and he wrote another book. It was called The Way of Walking Alone. And one of the things is he says, do not regret what you have done. And I was thinking about that when you were talking about thinking of the past. Was there a point in your life where you were always, regretting about why not do this, instead of being like, good, I'm glad that happened and I'm going to learn from it?
Absolutely. Without a doubt. Especially when I caught my Fed case. And you blow 1.2 million. The self-hatred comes in quick. And the woulda, coulda, shoulda, you go to sleep with it and you wake up with it. Why did I do that? It's dumb. And that was the blessing, that I didn't get probation or get home confinement, because I would have stayed home and I would have still been, to this day, most likely, living in the past of what could have done. It was a blessing that I got designated all the way to West Virginia, 7 hours away. Because when I got there, it was like, all right, everything gone, man. Everything is gone, homeboy. You fucked up. What you do now? We come back.
Yeah.
We come back.
I have this idea that I thought of like life as looking at it like a road, like a long street, and that you shouldn't judge the scenario based on that exact moment. For example, there's two people, right? There's two cars and they're driving. Car A, car B, and car A, boom, falls in a pothole, stays there, tire fell off, whatever. And then car B keeps going, and then everyone on the outside is gonna be like, car A is the losing car, car B is the winning car. But you don't know what is going to happen down that road. It's about like the final destination and like where you get to. So like you could look at, for example, your life and compare it to another person's life and be like, oh, Sean G is a millionaire. Sean G is the winning man. Joe over here works at whatever he makes for whatever. He doesn't make that much money a year. He's a losing man. A few months later, Sean G's in prison. What's everyone gonna say? All the observers, they're gonna point at the man in the arena and say Sean G's the loser. Immediately switch because they're judging it right now. They don't think long term. Right. Sean G's the loser. He's the winner because at least he's not. They're same Joe. At least Joe's not in prison. Sean G blew it. Of course, blah blah blah. Sean G comes out, makes his YouTube channel, it blows up, has his window company, is spending more time with his son. Then they're gonna. You don't know in the moment what's going to happen. You could have snapped your leg in half. You could have, the worst shit could have happened to you. And maybe that's the best thing that could have happened to you in that moment. You know what I mean?
It's a marathon, man.
Exactly.
This ain't no sprint. Who, a lot of cases, all the gifted and talented kids from high school, the athletes, then they don't look good now. They not doing good. They was money back then, but this is a marathon. It's how you finish.
And if anything, Sean G came out wealthier than when he.
Because if not for that, like you said, you wouldn't have been close to your son. When you're on your deathbed or you're old, you're not gonna think, well, at least that year I made 8 figures. At least that year I made blah blah blah. You're gonna think, my whole life and my son, I don't even know him, or my whole life. Yeah, sure, I lived in this glamorous place, but I didn't even spend time with my mom, and now she's gone. You're not going to know. And those are the things that matter. I think that each person should really sit down and disconnect from online, disconnect from all the shit, not forever, for a moment each day, and think to yourself like, what is important to me, and how am I spending my time? Am I spending my time in accordance, like relative to what's important to me? Because you might not realize it, and all your time is spent for making money, which that's important. But
yeah, you need resources.
If you make that everything, your family, all these things, your friends, bro, like they could die tomorrow. Like I could leave right now and or one of my closest friends could just get hit by a car or killed by a dude on the train, whatever. And none of that other shit that I thought would have mattered. I would have just said, I wish I could have just spent more time with that person,
You know what's dope, man? When I'm chilling at home with Sean, and he says something that I've been teaching him from when he was a baby. Like, never give up. He say, and that just confirms for me that he's listening. And like, if I die tomorrow, I'm just physically dead because I'm still resurrected through the birth of Lil Sean, because everything I'm giving him in me. And then when he has kids, he'll give them what's inside of him, which is what I get. So you never really die. But like you say, if you living in Connecticut and you commuting down to Wall Street every day, hour and 20-minute commute on the train, you're doing a 10-hour day, you commute an hour and 20 minutes home, it's 13 hours. The kids asleep when you get home. And you doing this 5 days a week, you don't know your kids, man. You getting money. Yeah. So it's really who's rich.
It depends what you consider rich.
Who's rich?
That's what I meant when you came out. You were essentially wealthier, because like we talked about, these material possessions, they're not as valuable as raising your child the right way, as spreading this knowledge, changing people's lives with these videos.
Because that's what I don't know if you really think about it, but that is what you're doing, man. Like,
what am I doing?
changing people's lives through the videos because
I don't know. Y'all be telling me that, man. I don't know what that's what I'm.
Because you know what it is. All of these people one day. That's the power that I think that more people should take advantage of online, the internet. Because all of these people that you're talking to will one day no longer be here, and we can learn from everything they said, exactly how they said it. No miscommunication of translation changing. It's there, and it's there for not. Nothing's forever, but it's more there than a piece of paper that can get burned or changed with the next printing, or it gets multiplied. You had this one conversation with a dude. Next day, 40,000 people listen to that shit. And out of those 40,000, a lot of them really soak in a lot of what, like even us doing this podcast, like people will be DM us and they're like, yo, we started training this because of this, or we started training that. And I'm like, that is what I think is one of the things that matters, is trying to uplift each other through information and knowledge, because without that shit we're lost. Like we're not gonna know who we are, we're not gonna know who our neighbor is, and we're not gonna know what is important to us. It's cool, like just some of the shit that's been said on your show. Like there was this like, I think he was like Russian kid. He was like 17, and you caught him in New Jersey. And he was like doing like not squats. What are they called? When you step forward, do a squat, step forward.
Lunges.
The lunges. He was doing lunges.
Offman.
I don't know.
Yeah.
And then you were like, why you wearing a mask? You afraid of no coronavirus? And he's like, hell no. Lunge. And you were like, you're not. He's like, hell no. He's like lunging away from you. Like he doesn't even like care. And he's just lunging away from you. You were like, what are you going to do? Like, and it's crazy. He's like 17. He's thinking this way. And you were like, what are you going to do? You're going to live in New Jersey or New York or whatever? And he's like, no, I'm going to go back to my country. Like, it's better to raise a family there. It's like, yo, when I was 17, I didn't give a fucking shit about. I'm like
thinking like that.
Yeah, it's impressive. It's honestly really impressive. Or like some of the dudes, like they'll be mad cut, mad ripped, and you'll be like, what do you eat? And they'll be like, greens and mangoes. What do you drink? Water. No protein powder? No. And they're just, it shows other people another side. People will be like, but don't you need like a protein powder, right? If you're working out, like you need that. And some of the dudes on your show will be like, yo, I'll just eat. They'll even go more extreme. They'll be like, I just eat greens. There was a dude on the show I was watching last night. He's like, I just mainly eat greenery. And he said greenery, and he said like sometimes fish, but just greenery. And he does an 18-hour, you know what I'm talking about, 18-hour fast.
Mike, yeah.
Every single day. Yeah. And then you ask him, why is he doing this fast? And like, I try to do at least like 2 times a week, a 24-hour fast, just to like recalibrate like what my hunger levels are and just like mind control type shit.
Good for the dome.
And like people like ask me like just on like my Instagram, like, what do you do to prepare for the fast? Or you don't do anything. I just don't eat for that moment. Like you could do all this preparation, but what's gonna happen if you do 24 hours? Are you gonna die? No. So then if anything, it's going to be better for you if you don't prepare, because that's the test of, because if you fucking body food and then you go to sleep and sleep for 12 hours and then you're only awake for the next 4 of the 24-hour fast, it's like, well, that wasn't hard. But the point of it is, and all this shit, it gets me more hyped to do it because I see a community behind it. It's like, it's easier to play football if there's a community of your homies that play football. It's easier to do shit like fasting and working out for the mental benefits if there's a community behind it. And a lot of the times it's hard for us to find a community behind that shit, at least for me. Like I go to the park to work out and people aren't really like always talking to each other like that, or maybe there's no one there depending on what time I go, so there's no community behind it. But then online I can see this whole community and I can get hyped, and I'll think of these people as I'm working out and shit, like it's a really good thing, and it's really healthy, and it makes it cool too, to like get money and work out and shit like that. Like I grew up like skateboarding and like writing graffiti and shit. It's like people think it's like, oh, you're a jock if you care about, oh, you're a meathead, you want to be like. But then you see all these people who are real deal people who are like exemplary humans, and it's not corny anymore because you see who they really are. You don't just see like some swole dude on Instagram with a small ass t-shirt, huge, like looking kind of corny, to be honest. You hear about these people, you hear what they have to say, you hear their ideas, and you're like, oh, that's sick. I started like I was boxing for a few years, but I didn't really get money like that in terms of like calisthenics. After the boxing, we would do like just various minimal shit. I remember it was like 3 sets of 12 pull-ups. It's nothing. Some like push-ups, nothing crazy. The craziest thing we would do was like the core work. We would do like 1,000, 2,000, that, because you need that. If you don't have that shell, you're toast. You know, the head moves, the body's not gonna move as much. So, but then like I saw this video of this dude working out at a park, and for some reason I was like, oh, that looks kind of sick. And then I went on his Instagram, I saw the whole shit, and it introduced me to that whole world. And I was like, let me see if there's a park around me. I was like, oh fuck, there's like 4 down the street. And then somehow that led to your YouTube channel, and they start talking about all the mental benefits and a real emphasis on the mental benefits. I didn't hear anything about like, yeah, I get this gap in my chest cavity because I do it this way, or like, this is how you get extra cut. You do this and that, and you don't eat this. And I didn't hear any of that. All I heard was like, you have to keep your mind strong to discipline. And it you know, it really opened the doors up for me for my way of thinking, which led to like way more shit that now like I do in my day-to-day life. For real.
That's what's up, man. That's amazing, man. I don't know, man. I don't be trying to do what the benefits y'all get from them. That's not what I'm saying. Yo, let me go do these videos to help people. I don't do it. I just shoot the video. You know, and I get DMs from all over the world, man.
The thing is like, not only are you documenting these people that have a persona, but you yourself have one. You know what I'm saying? Like, your videos are just as amazing as
your solo videos. Yeah,
the solo
where
videos.
You're talking morning coffee. I get mad hyped. That's what I'm saying. Yo, I'm telling you, man, you should start a podcast because so just on some other shit. I know on YouTube you get paid CPM more or less, but the CPM rate is super low. Yeah,
that YouTube jerks you.
The podcast is very, very, very different, and you get with your views that you have on YouTube. I'm telling you, if you had it on a podcast, you would be making bread.
I gotta talk to you. We gotta help me do that.
And you have the audio. Like, I would listen to, like, I'm gonna be honest with you, because they're on YouTube. I don't listen to all of them because I don't always have my computer, and if I'm on my phone, I might be on the GPS at the same time. I might want to just lurk Instagram and then go into my kitchen, cook food, click my phone, podcast keeps playing. YouTube doesn't. So then I stop listening, and then sponsors pay more for a podcast because they know people are they're more locked in. Once you click it, it usually chills and plays. So like, and not even just on some money shit, it introduces it to more people. I would probably listen to every single episode if you had a podcast. But because it's on YouTube, I don't listen to every episode.
I gotta change. I gotta get on a podcast, man.
And it's already there. You already have the. I'm talking about like the audio ones, because the working out ones is different. But like
all that stuff is. I save all of my videos to external hard drives. I got all of my content. Everything on there is on external hard drive. So I got it on my PC. It's on YouTube, and I got it on external hard drive.
No, I think it's easy to tell people, you know, like in the moment, like we're just talking, like, yo, you should start a podcast, it'll blow up. But like, yo, on some real shit, it will 100%. First of all, you already have the audience. Second, you'd be an amazing host. But I'm not just saying this. Like your voice, your personality, what you talk about, the meaning behind these messages, bro. It's all just one package that only makes sense. Especially like, I feel like right now in the time we're in with this, this fucking thing. Like, people need some type of life, bro. Like, people are so used to, like, coming outside and being like, bro, like, it's dead. I'm not talking about, like, people walking around. I'm just talking about, like, there's no vibe. The frequency.
The vibrate is low.
Bro, the frequency of the world right now is low, man. And it's been low.
You can feel it.
You could feel it, bro. And everyone feels it. Whether they believe in it or not, whether they want to admit it or not, bro, everyone feels it right now. So these type of life-giving conversations is what we need, bro. And like he said, it's not even about the money. It's about
way more people will hear it.
Change generations, bro. We need to bro. It's like,
we got to talk about that.
Honestly, like a lot of the people that you've had on your show, if you put like on your Instagram a photo of them and you were like, oh, we just recorded like an hour podcast today, I'd be like, yes, like I can't wait till it drops because I'm gonna listen to the whole shit. I'm gonna send it to a few people and like, because while I'm lurking Instagram or while I'm stretching or while I'm doing push-ups or while I'm commuting, boom, it's playing in the background of whatever I'm doing. And like it honestly, it would just be an amazing way for you to spread what you're already doing to a shitload of people. You know what I mean? And it's like, honestly, to anybody who's listening to this, cause and you haven't checked out your YouTube channel, seriously, go check it out, because like,
thank you.
Like, if you enjoy, like, I know the type of people who listen to our show, and I know that you're going to fuck with the shit you see. You're going to be hearing about people who have been to prison, people who have stabbed people, people who have been shot, people who used to sell, people who have been backstabbed, people who have backstabbed other people. And in the rawest form, no editing, just boom, click camera, you were mid-workout. You're going to hear these people drop some serious knowledge in a very real way. And, like, what better... There's so much bullshit online that you should... There's so much trash online, but there's also so much gold, straight up wealth online that you could really use to influence yourself in a positive way. Instead of just seeing a million ads for shoes that you should buy, you can hear people, you know, spit some real talk. And yo, I want to say immense thank you for coming on the show, bro. I enjoyed it so much, and I really do. And I'm not even just plugging you for the sake of plugging you, but I really do hope, I'll put it in the description, that everybody listens to, just go on Sean's YouTube channel and check it out, because
Thank you, man.
It's really, like, in my opinion, one of the best YouTube channels out there that can help people on like help everybody, not just like the felon or the whatever. Like, everybody at every stage can learn something from this and take something positive away. And like, you're already online all the fucking time anyways, so just see something of value, see something that's gonna put good mental food and give you good examples to live by, and also open your mind to the fact that, like, just because someone's a felon, or just because someone looks like this, or just because someone's here doing this, doesn't mean that they're just stupid. And it doesn't mean that they're, like, they might be more intellectual than you. They might be more self-analytic than you are, or than a lot of people you know. Maybe they're wearing, like, what you think a thug looks like, and they're all cut up, which even more intimidates you. And then you think that they're not an intellectual, but maybe the dude in the suit and tie who only knows one thing is less, you know, like I said, intellectual than that person. So, you know, watch his YouTube channel, open your mind to things, and maybe come up with a thought, you know. So thank you, bro. I really appreciate you coming on the show.
My man, shout out to Angel, shout out to you too, Zeke, man. I appreciate y'all for coming, man, for having me over.
Thank you so much, bro. Like I said many times on and off camera, like, yo, we need people like you right now, bro. Like, not right now, just in general, man. This is what life is about. I think this is the only way out of the gutter, in saying that meaning in every way possible, you know. Like, yo, thank you so much, and keep doing your thing, bro. Yeah. I'm very excited, and we'll talk about this podcast thing. Yo, bro.
Yeah, we got to do that. You got to help me with that.
No, yeah, for sure.
Yo, thank you so much again.
I appreciate you, man.
Thank you, man. Peace.
All right.